In today's video, I'm going to share with you what we're seeing in the market at the moment, particularly with 4 attributes that we're seeing positively and negatively. This is the difference between financial success and failure in your business. To put it simply, you might have a business that has 2 to 3 really good months of performance and then has 1 to 2 months of poor performance. So all the profit they've made during those good periods, they give, if not all of it back, a lot of it back in those poorer months. I've been able to nut it down to a couple of core elements. The first one is around the standards they set. The businesses that have a continual upward trajectory, and that doesn't mean they don't have a poor month or a poor short period of time, it is that the general performance of that business is on the up. If you've seen any charts around the stock market over an extended period of time, there are blips where it goes down, but the general trajectory of the share market is up. If you had invested in the share market however many years ago, you will have more money today than what you did when you first made that investment maybe 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago. How do we replicate that in business with having our business on the up and up? The first element is having high standards and not willing to accept poor levels of performance. Put simply, the business that has 2 or 3 good months and then follows that up with 1 or 2 poor months, the business with high standards will not accept that. They will make changes, they will do things differently. Let me give you a practical example. If in your business you need to produce $30,000 worth of output per day to achieve your targets, but for 3 days in a row you achieve $25,000, $26,000 worth of output, the business that has high standards challenges itself and it goes, how can I get to 35,000? How can I make up that difference from where I was previously to where I need to be? The business that doesn't have those standards, that isn't being pushed by their leadership team, will accept those $26,000 days and go, okay, well, I did $26,000. Oh, well, let's come back tomorrow and try again. No, it's on the leaders of the business to set those high standards. If we're not achieving those objectives, we are failing. The second part is then the sense of urgency. What is the sense of urgency around making changes? For example, we had a client recently where they have had an exceptional 3-year period. They had had very strong performance around every financial metric you could ask for about 3 years. The owner of the business, by his own admission, said he took his eyes off the ball for about a 2 or 3 month period and there'd been a regression in their performance. Don't get me wrong, they were still profitable, but not to the level that they had been previously. As a result of their high standards and their sense of urgency, we made some significant changes to not just stem the blood flow of the reduction in performance, but actually get the performance back to the level it had been previously. So they set high standards for where their business should be running, and then they had a sense of urgency around rectifying it. That business and business owner could have been well within their rights to go, oh, we've been doing it really well for the last 3 years, and we can have a period of time where we're still doing well, just not to the same level. It's those standards and that sense of urgency is what differentiates this business and that business leader from somebody who doesn't have that same level of standards and that same level of urgency. The key element though is for us as business leaders is to communicate those things directly and indirectly to our team. An example of directly is giving them a quantifiable target they should be aiming for. Indirectly is how do we act around this? Do we act and behave in a manner that reflects we're keen, enthusiastic and desperate to get to that performance? Or do we arrive at 9 o'clock and we leave at 2 o'clock and we're pretty chilled about it, and if we get there we don't? Your team will copy the level of intensity that your leaders will demonstrate. And I don't mean just the owners of the business, I mean the leadership team, whether it's in operations, finance, HR, marketing, sales. They're going to match the intensity of the leaders in those teams. That leads to the third part. So we've talked about high standards, a sense of urgency, and the third element is non-acceptance of poor performance. So we've implied that so far with what we've been sharing, but a genuine non-acceptance of poor performance. That business I just spoke about a moment ago that had 3 really strong years of performance got their key leaders involved in what had happened to regress in performance. That then sets a culture of non-acceptance of poor performance, and a financial number that a lot of businesses might be happy with might be a performance or a level that you're not happy with in your business. So setting those standards, setting the sense of urgency, and then sharing with the team why this is not an acceptable level of performance. And you can do that in such a way without being insulting, condescending. It's really getting across the intent of excellence within your business. And there's a fourth and final byproduct of this, and that is the people on your team. What I find is if you work with high standards, a high sense of urgency, and a non-acceptance of poor performance, what kind of people do you attract to your business? You attract A-level performers into your business because they want to work with a sense of urgency and they want to work with high standards and achieving high standards and achieving excellent levels of performance. What happens though if you're pretty relaxed about things? There's not a sense of urgency, there's an acceptance of poor levels of performance, and we're just quite cruisy and comfortable. We're going to do two things. We're going to attract the types of people you don't want in your business because your business will be somewhere that's easy to work and you can have a cruisy time and there's no pushback if there's not a level of performance we want it to be. But also you'll lose the A-level players in your team. I would be driven nuts if I was working with people that didn't have a high sense of urgency, didn't have high standards, and were willing to accept a poor level of performance. I would like to think I'm an A player. I think all of us would like to think we're A players. If you're accepting lower levels of performance, if you're not acting with a sense of urgency and willing to accept lower standards, you're unintentionally attracting the wrong kind of people and repelling the right kind of people in your business. That is why so often businesses that achieve excellent levels of performance have excellent standards of people, and vice versa. So in summary, number one, set high standards. Number two, act with a sense of urgency. Number three, if there's a poor level of performance, understand why and make sure that we remedy that as quickly as possible. Because lastly, we want to attract A-level players to our business and retain them, not C-level players that we end up keeping because we don't have a choice of employing anybody else. Hope you found this helpful. Keen to get your feedback in terms of how you see your business in this realm, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.